All right, we are live, sir. How's it going, everybody? I am GN. I'm here today with VODA Consulting guy. How's it going, man? How are you today?
I'm doing good, better than most people say.
You stirred the pot a little bit here. Can you tell us about what that's been like for you, man? Because the reaction, from my perspective, has been overwhelming. So
and it has been overwhelming for me. It's been overwhelming for me as well. You gotta understand, I'm working on the computer as well. For me, it is a bittersweet thing, more sweet than bitter. I'm a sociologist, so I'm looking at this from a totally different perspective. You see what I'm saying? I'm not just watching it from a firearm or educators or firearm perspective. I'm looking at it from an academic standpoint. I'm looking at it from a clinical standpoint. So my lenses are going to be totally different. And what I'm seeing is quite disturbing in the gun game as of right now.
Is that symptomatic of something bigger? Because you talk about it as if it's the gun game, but then you say sociology. So what?
Yes, it's much bigger.
What did you find? What did you learn about yourself and the community?
Well, let's start with the community first. I like to work from the outside in. You know, there are a lot of great people, no matter what the industry is, whatever the game is, a lot of great people. But what I'm also seeing is a lot of bigotry. I'm seeing a lot of, I've seen some racism. You always have your bad apples in every bunch. You know, nothing's going to be all the way good, all the way bad. I've seen where people are just purposely closed-minded. I've also seen manipulation of stories and facts to support people's issues. I've seen cognitive biases. I've seen a lot, but I also seen people who were hopeful. You know what I mean? I've seen people that looked at me and saw what I was doing and said, you know what? I'm glad someone is doing something because I'm tired of looking at the same thing day in and day out. I'm glad someone is taking a stand and saying, listen here, I want some training that is going to be applicable to my daily living conditions. You see what I'm saying? Like for most people, like I work with, you know, common everyday people. I don't do special forces. That's not my thing. I like everyday common civilian operators. And what they are facing are carjacking, kidnapping. They are facing anything within 0 and 2 meters, which is why I work in the fashion that I do. So when I make my training protocols or the SOPs for them or the consultations for them, it is on a customized level. And what I've seen, so all these people I've trained is they want something that they can say, you know what, I got this person off me. I'm going to be able to win if I have to go to court. And I want to go home and see my family and my loved ones. And I appreciate you for that. So I think that's what I mean by saying it was bittersweet.
Are you making the assumption that those things, excuse me, don't already exist or don't exist in some capacity that is worth the time for these students?
I won't say that it doesn't exist. I think that it doesn't necessarily resonate with them. You know, you can have, let's say, 10 instructors. You know, I'm not even an instructor anymore. I'm an educator, you know, way past the instruction part. But you'll have 10 instructors and, you know, 9 of those 10 would teach the same thing straight from the book. You know what I'm saying? But what I find is it's all about the delivery. You see what I'm saying? Because everyone learns at a different level. And I'm going to say this much too. You can't teach people, everyday people, from a militaristic standpoint. You can't teach them from a drill sergeant standpoint because they're going to shut down. They're going to say, hey, look.
For sure.
Don't talk to me like that.
It needs to be relevant, right? It needs to be relevant to your condition. And I consider this, the fact that you believe that these things don't exist, could that be a symptom of maybe a lack of training on your part? So let me kind of transition. Who have you trained with? Name some good, this is kind of, who have you trained with? You don't need to name names specifically, but have you gathered enough firsthand information from the instructor pool that is currently existing for you to say with credibility, something needs to change? Because you're saying that they teach textbook and they all teach the same things. I think there's something to be said about.
That's not me saying that. That is, and that's not me necessarily saying that. That is actually coming from the mouth of an actual VODA client.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Who works in the executive protection industry. I've worked with executive protection agents. I've actually been on a couple of details as far as executive protection is concerned. I've worked on contracts as a private contractor in Chicago. I've been in the military. I have access to people within the SF community. I've worked with those people. I've trained with those people. Of course, I've ran through the NRA gambit. You know, I've had all of the NRA credentials except for muzzle loading. I ain't doing it. Okay, I don't see the point in it.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
but you know, rifle, pistol, shotgun, personal protection inside the home, outside the home, refuse to be a victim, anti-rape, anti-carjacking, you know, anti-trafficking. These are the things that I have my background in, and of course, you know, I got my master's and my bachelor's in sociology. So, you know, and fine arts and everything else. So I have a slew of disciplines that are behind me that are able to help me gain a perspective and obtain another perspective that most people will not be able to have, because not that they're limited, but they just don't know. You see what I'm saying?
Do you have a specific example of something that you know for a fact is being taught that isn't relevant? Getting to the specifics here.
Here's one for sure. If you ever watch people like like a lot of times people get on me about, you know, well, we got to kind of fall back when you get ready to do it in close quarters and different things like that. And I don't believe in that.
You don't believe in falling back?
No, I believe in going forward. Go toward the attacker. Go towards your aggressor. Because what's happening, like I always say all the time, it's what you're doing is the body. We've reached the apex where we do the damage to the body. We really have. I mean, we are really efficient at that. But that next step is going into the mind. That is going into the psychological aspect, and that psychological aspect would be the OODA loop: observe, or decide, action. You see what I'm saying? And in going forward, what you're actually doing is forcing the attacker's OODA loop to reset. Which is why I don't go backwards.
I'm going to be a little bit critical here. At first,
please.
you say that what's being taught out there isn't relevant to the people learning it. It's to special forces, military-ish type, right? And then
not all
of them, for sure. And then you have a concept that dictates that instead of falling back in the presence of gunfire, that you move towards it. That goes against every fiber of our being, and it's in fact something that the military, the military teaches their soldiers to move towards that violence. Not
necessarily, because I was actually in the military and they didn't teach us that. I was right there at Fort Bragg.
I'm perhaps not as a tactic, but as a principle, those who go into a fight. Those who go into a fight are expected to address that. Whereas if you encounter a fight, there may be the natural tendency would be to find cover, to get off the axe, to move.
They do say that. Yes, they do say that. You know, go find cover, whatever the case may be. But you know, oftentimes, because I've been on both sides of the law. I've been a good guy and a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? So I know when I'm getting ready to do an armed robbery, when I come up to you, I'm gonna put you in a position where you can't go back. I'm gonna put you in a position where your back is on the wall. When I do for my carjacking, I'm gonna get you right when you get to open the door. I'm not gonna rob you across the street. I ain't gonna take your jewelry from across the street. I'm gonna get up on you. You see what I'm saying?
I do, but wouldn't it be more imperative to teach, situationally? So because you're founding, one of your principles is to move forward, because they're not going to allow you to move back. Not all crimes happen that way necessarily, correct? True. So let's kind of, I kind of feel like we can get into a bit of a black hole here, so to speak. And I just want to let everybody know that I'm no expert by any means. I can challenge and be critical.
And I wouldn't want to be an expert. I don't never want to be an expert. I always want to be a student.
Right. And again, VODA, the purpose for this, my intention for this whole entire thing is to have a civilized, non-emotional conversation, because you've made it very, very clear in your responses to the criticism in the commentaries that I've read that you guys aren't getting the real picture. So talk to us about what is VODA Consulting? What is the big picture of VODA Consulting?
Well, the big picture is just being able to help everyday people learn about firearms, whether it be from a safety standpoint or personal defense. Maybe it could be from a recreational, or even in some of my cases, a therapeutic standpoint. when I run a therapeutic session or something like that. But it's generally centered around helping people within a community and solidifying the community and really changing the face of how gunfighters and shooters are seen.
But that seems to me in line with a vast majority, actually all of the instructors that I've ever worked with. That seems in line. So where does the divide happen, in your opinion?
Well, like say for instance, one of the ways that I train, like I only use real guns, right? I don't use blue guns. I don't, you know the whole spiel. I ain't got
Yes,
that.
yes.
I've seen it already. A lot of people get on me about using, you gotta use blue guns. I don't like blue guns. I don't like them. They don't have the weight. They don't have the feel. They don't have the character. And by the time they started adding all of those accessories and things onto it to make that, you got a brand new gun. So you might as well just use the real gun. But even more than that, something very special happens within the body. And we're talking about the norepinephrine, epinephrine, and the blood-body response. What happens in the brain on a cognitive level? You see what I'm saying? And this is very different. The body treats things very different, no matter how minute those things are. And those small, minute things over time make the biggest difference.
I also understand there's no way to recreate that, to truly recreate the stress adrenaline response, that fear for life. So even I understand your concept in a way, in that you want to add as much realism into training as you can, but not using safety guns, not using SIRT pistols, not using blue guns.
And I do actually own them. I actually own two SIRT pistols, which I use only for.
Right, they've got a great feel to them. They got weight. You know, you can't rack the slide necessarily, but
I use a SIRT pistol for the trigger management. I like for people to be able to see, because when you're up close, you're doing 0 to 2 meters. You're not aiming. You're instinctively pressing the trigger. So I need people to get a visual representation to the projection to see what that laser is when they press the trigger, how they press the trigger, and more importantly, where that shot may potentially end up going. Generally, you see what I'm saying?
I understand the concept. I don't know if I necessarily agree with using live firearms, safe as they may be.
We don't have it.
Right, I know for a fact. I mean, it's not a question, and it's not a question that you clear them and that you demonstrate that you've cleared them multiple times to multiple people. But when you're presenting something online like this, as an educator with a degree in sociology, do you not have to account for, to some degree, the lowest common denominator, to the person who's going to see that? And I mean, these are one of the fundamental safety rules that you actively and purposefully break. So in the broader scope of things, do you think this decision of yours is a hindrance to you wanting to spread the message? Like, why start there?
Well, here's the thing. Like I told Hank Strange, who's a really nice guy, I was on a show with him. I told him in 2017, if you think I'm using live firearms, if you think that, I'm breaking rules because I'm ignorant, you're stupid as shit. I'm going to tell you the truth. You know what I mean? But that's just most people, and I'm not going to hold myself accountable for people who are too stupid to understand exactly what the world is going on.
Why not use a real pistol and drop a training barrel in there, for example? Very inexpensive piece of plastic.
I'm not doing that. I'm just not. I had a good friend of mine. His name is Amir. Very college educated, nice guy. And he suggested the same thing, but he get where I'm coming from. I just don't.
Is it part of? I mean, let's be real here for a second, right? It's not that you don't agree with a training barrel. It's not that you don't agree with a safety pistol. It seems to me that you're purposefully doing this to create controversy. Is there some truth to that?
No. Actually, what we're doing in the session is building trust. When I work with people in the fashion that I work with them, they may be pointing a firearm at me, or I may be pointing at them, minus the ammunition. What we're doing is building trust. We're building a relationship. You see what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times, even in the community, even without any guns, that's one of the biggest things that is missing in our communities across this country, around the world, is people don't even trust each other no more. You got people that I know that are on the sheriff, SRT team, don't even trust each other. You know what I'm saying? So when we work in the fashion that we do, and I tell my client, my life is in your hand. So if you do something wrong, what you do is going to affect me. If I do something wrong with this gun if I try to sneak around in, which would be, you know, under the law of malicious act, first degree murder, you know, I'm going to be held liable for that. The law is going to check me. The law is going to check you, and we're going to keep each other in our good graces, and we're going to build a relationship from
Sure.
that.
Well, VODA, is this a critical element in the trust building process for you? Is to use real guns? I mean, are there no other ways to do that? Build a rapport, slow start?
You can build a rapport, but you know, when it's just so different. You know, it's one of those things in life where you gotta kind of like experience. You see what I'm saying? You gotta experience it. Like some people always say, some of the best training in the world is on-the-job training, man. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I will agree with that principle. The best kind of training on the world is on-the-job training.
On the job.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Let me be clear that I don't necessarily agree with you in using this, because, you know, there are people who come into firearms classes for a variety of reasons, right? And one of those things could be trauma, right? And so your approach is akin to, you know, when somebody has a phobia of spiders and you throw them in a room full of spiders. I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to regain that trust or to gain that confidence.
Actually, what we do, if you look on the YouTube page, you're gonna find at least 2 testimonials from VODA clients who have been through what's called a therapeutic shooting session. Right? I'm not gonna tell you their names or anything like that because it's a real private thing and they're very sensitive about that.
Sure.
But I can tell you at least either it's been rape or they have been a victim of a triple murder, homicide, suicide.
Right.
In which they are extremely fearful of firearms. And so my job is to get them to, one, even hold a gun and then press the trigger for the first time, develop the sense of self-confidence and self-esteem, and then we go into more critical training.
Okay. See, that what I get from that, VODA, is that you care about these students and you cater to their specific needs, right?
Yeah, I have to.
It's just, man, your approach sometimes, dude, is so
unorthodox.
Yeah, but sometimes it's aggressive, you know, and sometimes it's, if you want to talk about NDs, talk to this guy and that guy.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you what happened. Like, you know, see, you guys only get just a small part of like some of the stuff that goes on in the inbox, in the emails. I get the full gamut. I get the full gamut from everybody across the globe, or more specifically in the United States. And when people will say something to the effect of, well, I heard a student was shot in one of your sessions. One, I ain't got students, I got clients, and 2, ain't nobody ever been shot in my session. And I always tell people all the time, when you hear people talking like that, ask them for a police report. And so what they'll do is they'll produce a police report of the shooting I was involved in when I had to take down this convict for shooting up the neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? And they'll use that and say, well, see, he was charged. You know what I'm saying? But they ain't got nothing to do with nothing because ain't nobody ever been shot in one of my sessions. I only shoot active convicts with a firearm. Right? So when it came out in the video, I was like, well, you want to talk about negative discharges? Go talk to Travis Haley. Go talk to, you know, Rob Ski, who was a very good guy, I believe, and Travis Haley. These are all people I respect, by the way. Rob Ski, if you watch Rob Ski, I don't know if you've seen the video, he letting off live AK rounds right next to the guy's head in the training, and don't nobody say a word. See, we live in a world of double standards here. You see what I'm saying? No one, you don't even know nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? He letting off the rounds next to the guy's head on video in training. You know what I'm saying? So it's a bunch of things that go on that people like to nitpick. And with me, people like to nitpick about me because I don't take no for an answer. I stand up to the NRA. I stand up to people and say, hey, listen, I don't care if you take these credentials. These credentials don't make me. It's the skulls around my neck that make me. You see what I'm saying? It's my life experiences that made me, not piece of paper.
Okay. Given the nature of racial division in your country, is there something that you can do or wish you could have done differently throughout all this?
I wish I would have went public a long time ago, way prior to me doing this, because I you know, I've been in the gun game for about going on 7 years. I only went public in 2015. You know, I got certified in 2010. So I think I really should have went public then to help me get a little bit more maturity. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a certain level of maturity when you come into anything new that you gotta obtain, and the only way to get it is to go through the fire. You see what I'm saying? So I wish I could have been doing that, but the thing that is the most saddest thing in the world is when African Americans, not just myself, but when we in this gun game, the condescending tone Caucasians take on African Americans when they step to the gun range, when they want to go get a certification, or when they, scrutinize. We scrutinize when we go to the range to shoot. I ain't even got to be there. This is stories coming not only from myself, but from many African Americans from California to, Florida, around in the United States. So these are things that are untalked about, and I don't want to shed light on it, but I ain't got no choice but to shed light on it because I'm affected by it.
For sure. For sure. When it comes to this condescending tone, Voda, is it possible that it's something that is being perceived as such because of the nature of the course, because it's building fundamentals? So maybe somebody like you who has some experience may perceive something to be condescending, whereas another person may not. Is there really a race issue when it comes to how instructors teach their students in the United States?
I'm going to tell you the truth. As a sociologist, I don't believe in race. I only believe in ethnicity. But however, I live in a country that believes in race. And I'll be goddamn if I tell you ain't no damn different.
Okay, so are you from Jamaica? Are you from the Caribbean islands? Are you from Africa?
No, my family's from the Caribbean. My family from the Caribbean.
Oh, so do you think there is a purposeful, systematic discrimination of Caribbean people in the firearms training world?
No, you know what I think it is, and I'm going to rely to my fellow sociologist, W.E. Du Bois. He refers to something as called the double consciousness.
Okay.
And that is when African Americans have to think not only of themselves as African Americans, but how they are going to be perceived in the light of Caucasian perspective. That's what's going on. And, I can sit here and pretend like it doesn't exist. I can sit here and say, I'm going to ignore it. But you know what? When I'm getting phone calls from African Americans around this country and, emails saying, hey, listen, thank you for speaking up for me. You know what I'm saying? Because, this person, he may live in, Arizona or California or something, and, just saying thank you. I don't feel like I'm alone at the range anymore. I don't feel like I'm alienated. Hey, when the next time you're going to be in Baltimore, when you're going to come back to Atlanta, take me to the range with you because I don't like the way I'm being perceived and treated. You see what I'm saying? This is from all over the country. No, I ain't.
Is the solution then to go to an African American, a Black, a Caribbean guy? Is that the solution?
No, and I never sought to be like that. I just wanted to train people to be able to live and go back to their homes and kiss their kids. That's the only thing I ever wanted to do. But somehow, some way, people try to put Malcolm X shoes on me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really want the job, but it came. You know what I mean? And that's what happened.
Man, what if a white guy came to your class right now and said, "I want to learn from you"?
I've taught Caucasians. In fact, I was finished talking the other day. She asked me to sell her this Glock. And I don't train them no different than I train anybody else. I train everybody the same. I train them for real life. I train them also in the law, so they know the law. How to play the legal game, how to play the court game. They know what it is. They're gonna go home. They're gonna be all right.
Can I challenge that? So you're saying that the double standard exists, but you're outside of that realm. You'll teach everybody the same way.
I will treat everybody the same exact way. I will not say, oh, okay, this is going to be a Caucasian protocol or a Hispanic, Latino protocol. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to train everybody the same way. Because, to be honest with you, for the most part, the convict don't care who they stick up. They're going to stick up anybody. And in fact, they're going to stick up the person with the least amount of resistance. That's what they're going to do. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. So what's up with this? What's up with the video where you talked about building this range for us?
I did, because I'm going to tell you what happened with that. I had to file a police report and an FBI report against the Ku Klux Klan because they sent something in my inbox. And what happened was, I moved from Fayetteville to Charlotte, North Carolina, And so I started going to this one range, and I still enjoy that range. We still do business. They're good people. And what happened was these people decided that they were going to band together to ban me from ranges and different things like that. So what they would do is they would call the range, harass the owners. They would send emails and do all of these things to this person, put so much heat on that person to that person give in, you know what I'm saying, and say, okay, well, I can't have you at this rent because I can't deal with this influx of phone calls every 2 minutes. I can't deal with these emails every 2 minutes, and threatening to revoke memberships and things from people who don't even live in this state.
Is that because you're a black guy, or is because they perceived what you did to be dangerous?
There's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be also very honest with you, and I don't know how it's going to sound. I'm going to just tell you what it is.
You're going to be real regardless, right?
Because my brother, he was president of the Urban Sharpshooters, and I encourage all African Americans, Latinos, LGBTQ to join the Urban Sharpshooters. Big up to my homegirl of chic clothing design, strength, humility, excellence, powerful women doing big things. I'm gonna always be as honest as I can because I ain't really allowed to speak too much too often no more.
That's the beauty of social media. You build your own forums. But please continue.
Yeah, but building this range is so. You know what? I'm gonna build this range, the shooting range, so African Americans and other minorities, no matter who they are, can come here and feel comfortable. I don't care if you want to take a class. I don't care if you want to be tactical or just want to just hang out.
Where do you draw the line? Can a Caucasian man join this club?
It's not a club. It's a range. Anybody can come. But
in what way will you provide a greater service, perhaps, to minorities? I mean, we're talking hypothetical, right? You haven't broken ground yet. A building's not being built yet.
No.
But if you had your way,
we got. If I had my way, the first thing you do with African Americans is, acknowledge them that they're coming to the door.
Right.
But say, hey, listen, boss.
Man, wouldn't you be creating? You'd be creating the exact same thing that you're up against, the division. You know what I mean? Don't you feel that way?
No,
I mean, it's like saying, yes, we'll accept Filipinos there, but there's something more here for people
for a specific demographic.
But that's the exact same thing, man. That it's just like if there was a range down in Alabama and they say this is this is this and that, but minorities are also welcome. It's not a genuine welcome in that way, is it? I think
yes, it is, because every business has a target audience. Every business has a targeted demographic, and my targeted demographic is African Americans and other minorities around this country. That's not to say Caucasian couldn't come.
But if they're your targeted demographic, you're going to have things for them that aren't necessarily available to others, and just by the very definition of that, right? So, man,
then it is what it is. Then it is what it is, because you know what, in this country.
But you're an educator. You're an educator. You have a degree in sociology. You want unity and you want inclusion. And so this seems to me like not a great solution to a problem that you're trying to tackle. Seems to me it's almost adding on to that.
No, because the thing is, the biggest thing with African Americans and just people in general is that we don't own our own markets. We don't own our own things anymore. We always gotta go to other people, and we gotta act different. We gotta talk different. You gotta, take your voice up a couple of octaves. You gotta stand with your legs together so you can seem less intimidating. You see what I'm saying? You gotta, what I'm saying? No. I want people to be who they are. If you don't like people, that's your business. You do what you want to do. But my thing is making sure that minorities, African Americans, have a place where they feel comfortable. That's the thing.
Comfortable. Okay, you know what? That's
it.
Let's leave it at that for now. Okay.
It's okay.
I mean, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too deeply.
No, it's okay.
You know?
Sorry.
Because it's a complex issue. It's a complex issue, and I'm, you know, who am I to say anything about your chosen course of action? I just believe that it's divisive, man. I believe what you're trying to do.
You know, and to some degree it is. To some degree it is, and I can understand where you're coming from. But like, you're in Canada, if you don't mind me asking. You're in Canada, right?
I am in Canada. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, and it's sad, you know, when I look at all the different countries around the world, you know, they don't necessarily have the degree of issue like we have in this country as far as ethnicity is concerned. They just don't. You know what I'm saying? But
it's unique for sure.
What it is?
It's based on your history. It's unique and it's complex.
Yeah. But it's okay. Go ahead with the next question. No problem.
Okay. We never see you shoot a target, and we never see you hit those targets. Why?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. It's on there.
Oh yeah, maybe I've not done enough research. Is it? Let me rephrase that. For example, is it important? Is it important for you to show the target, and to have? I mean, how do you validate what you teach in any way in the social space? When I've looked, man, and I didn't see.
How far down did you go in the YouTube channel? Let's start here.
In the rap, not far enough, man. Because honestly, when I first came into this, I looked at your videos and I was like, holy shit, holy smokes, this guy is doing things differently. He's breaking fundamental rules of safety, and the language that you use is very specific language. Would you agree with that?
Very specific language, like what?
Well, you have a smile, like you kind of know what I'm talking about too. So why don't you explain it to me?
Maybe I don't know, because you know, you say specific, like, you know, I don't know.
Put it this way: you don't sound like any other instructor that I've ever stepped my camera in front of.
Is there a certain way an educator or instructor is supposed to sound?
As far as terminology, as far as progression of tactics, philosophies, and topics covered, it seems very, how should I put this, casual.
That's because I don't like to hype things up more than what they are. I don't want to, you know, you gotta understand, you're working with people who are be, how you say, less confident in their weapon manipulation or something like that. So you don't want to be in a way where you make them feel inferior. You see what I'm saying? The best way to talk to people is just talk to people. Like, hey, say, this is how you load it. You know
shouldn't you hold them up to a higher level of standard? You mentioned not pandering to the lowest common denominator. Why shouldn't a soccer mom or a college student that you're teaching, why shouldn't you be the catalyst for them to learn the correct terminology?
They learn the correct terminology.
Okay, but just
because
delivered.
You guys only see like, okay, here's how it works. I gotta tell you because you don't know.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know. When I was teaching concealed carry in North Carolina, right, it requires 8 hours worth of training, right? So when you actually see us touching that gun, we're already 4 and 5 hours into the training. Well, what happened to the other 4 and 5 hours of training prior? Well, we have to do administration. We have to do 2 hours of law, a minimum of 2 hours of law. And then I got to do the NRA PowerPoint slides. I got to do the whole testing. You know, I'm the only one with 9 batches of tests for this thing. You see what I'm saying? But these are the things that you don't see on the camera. You're doing declaration tests. So, you know, it's a lot of work that goes into training people. And some of these sessions, they go 8 hours. I've had 12-hour sessions. You see what I'm saying, with people. And it's not like, you know, I get on the telly and be like, yo, just a clip. You know what I'm saying? It's a magazine, you know what I'm saying? But I don't have to be like, it's the magazine. I don't have to do that. Hey, this is the magazine, boss. You put it right there. This is how it works.
You mentioned quite frequently that, I mean, and I believe this, you know, anything in the social space is going to be a condensed version of the totality. I 100% get that. So let's get right into right into the good stuff, right? You advocate drawing your pistol and your knife at the same time.
Okay,
Why? When on earth might you ever need to do a simultaneous knife pistol draw?
Okay, let's talk about it. What you're referring to is the EDA-ECK. I didn't say you. First of all, I never said you had to draw two at the same time.
Well, you did, though. That's what you demonstrated.
No, I didn't. That's what I demonstrated, but I never said you had to.
No, okay.
And
give me a circumstance where you might need to.
You're talking about simultaneously?
Simultaneously, like you demonstrated.
If you're in close combat.
Boom.
If you're close.
But simultaneously, not one or the other.
Yeah.
Not preemptively before entering that zone. Okay. So
if you go back to the video that we got online, right? I was working with Slime and the Black Packers. And it says, I said, what goes through your mind? The gun and the knife at the same time. And he says, you know what? I'm just paraphrasing. I don't know which one to go after to stop. That's powerful. Because what it's letting me know is I have disrupted his OODA loop to the point where he can't think as an attacker. So he may try to go for the gun because he may say loud, bang, but that knife coming.
Yeah, but he had a gun to your chest at the same time. He doesn't need to worry about what to deal with first. He just pulls that trigger, and so do you. I think that's what that was the confusing part for me. In close quarters, if you're drawing, you're shooting, you're stabbing, right? You're not doing it as a deterrent to further action, right? At that range, and given the context, of course, especially drawing on a guy who's drawing his knife, isn't that kind of dangerous? Pull that trigger.
What we were doing. Look at it like this. One, the pretext for the video is to show speed. Like people were saying, well, it's not fast enough. It's not this, it's not that. So I said, tell you what, let's see how fast it is. You do a regular standard draw, and I'll do this. Let's see the speed. No problem. Now, if he shoots me close quarter, the first round is gonna hurt. Okay, the round may pass through, but I'm not gonna die instantaneously. I got a good 5, maybe even 10 seconds, and he's gonna be dead too. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's gonna be dead because maybe you pulled the trigger, not because you necessarily stabbed him. I'm just trying to get an idea of why you would ever need to simultaneously. Because number one, if something happens to your firearm, that
you have a knife.
You lose the inability to clear that malfunction also. And at that,
in the close quarter world, you don't have time to clear the malfunction when you're that close. You see what I'm saying? So what you're left with is a knife and a blunt force weapon.
Right.
You don't have ballistics. So at any given time, if there's nothing going on, you just happen to just draw under the EDA system. You have a sharp, you have pain compliance, you have ballistics, and you have a, let's use the term, I just said the word, blunt force.
Right, but if you have such little time, why waste that time in a dual type draw?
Well, you know, we were just looking to see if it works. You know, it's still in the trial errors, man. It's not like we're out here teaching people.
Okay.
You know.
See, I'm all about exploration, but the way that it was presented as this is an option for these reasons. So it's not a real option necessarily, but a part of your exploration. Would you?
Yeah, I mean, that's
agree
what
to that?
Doing. Yeah, I thought that was common knowledge, but okay, no problem. Okay.
It was not clear to the viewers at all that what you were doing were exploring, because you did not give. If you're exploring, you might come to the conclusion that, you know what, this might not be useful. But you never drew a conclusion. You only said you were exploring, and even then, you're exploring concepts, right? So you're exploring the concept of simultaneously drawing your knife and your gun in a close quarter duel type situation. And in that case, I think most people would subscribe to the one or the other. But so many, I feel like so many things can go wrong.
I mean, but things go wrong on a standard draw too. Most police, military lose their gun on a draw.
Oh, absolutely. And so if it's volatile on the fundamental level and it's not 100% guaranteed, why kind of complicate that process?
It's not. I don't think it's complicated. Well, it's not complicating to me because I'm creating it. You see what I'm saying? It's not. You know what I'm saying? To someone who's not creating it, it'd be like, okay, it's complicated, but it's not complicated to me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I just make it. It works.
I feel like
really does.
I feel like it's innovation, and I mentioned this to you before. Innovation for the sake of innovation. Change for the
that way if you want to.
For the sake of change. So let me give you an opportunity to explain it in context. Then, in what scenario might that tactic that you discovered from your exploration be actually beneficial? And the other thing is, are you teaching this to people?
No, actually, no. Actually, it's only we decided after doing the contest, if you will, to see if it really works as far as drawing is concerned. We decided to only keep it for a certain amount of people. Certain people privy to have the PowerPoint presentation, to even have access to it, because it's not what you think. You don't have to draw the knife and the gun at the same time. You can perfectly fine just drawing the gun and come to find out, hey, you may need a knife for retention. You see what I'm saying? So there's other ways about using the system. It's really user specific. You see what I'm saying? It's customizable.
You don't teach this anymore.
I do teach it, but not to the masses.
Okay, well that's cool. I think certainly your spirit of exploration is something that can be welcomed, even encouraged by the community, because I think everybody's doing that. It's just how those things are presented. And will you take some accountability over your presentation that led to such a negative backlash? I mean, to what degree does VODA accept accountability for what happened?
What you mean, what happened?
I mean, this divide. Man, I look at your videos and the commentary. Some of them are look, I'm going to agree with you. Some of them are just downright racist. And I'm not going to pretend that this issue doesn't exist, because I read it personally myself, right? But those aside, there were negative comments that they weren't bigoted. They were just shocked, surprised, aggressive, rude. They hated you, man. They hated you. And to a degree, as you seem to me like a man who believes in accountability. So to what degree of accountability do you place upon yourself for this misunderstanding?
My thing is, as far as the misunderstanding is concerned, I'm free to do whatever I want to do. I don't have to answer to anybody. You see what I'm saying? And I don't think that anyone has to answer to me. Like, I don't owe anybody anything, and nobody owes me anything. So I don't have a responsibility for any. If people are going to look at things negative, I don't control them. You see what I'm saying?
Man, I have to disagree with you very strongly about this, because there is a community here. There's a community to be considered, right? This is a firearms community. This is a Second Amendment community, a tactical community, a shooting sports community. And when you isolate yourself in that way and say, I'm not accountable to anybody, nobody's accountable to me, that completely dissolves. You're part of that process that dissolves this unity and community that so many people are trying very, very hard to build. So do you accept that you may be a dividing factor in that way when you make a statement like, I'm not responsible to anybody? I believe that you are. I believe that, look, for better or for worse, you are an educator, you're an instructor in this community, and this community does exist. It is a thing. And so when you isolate yourself from that, you kind of build yourself up to be torn down more than you would if you were being inclusive, right?
I can see where you're going from. The old black sheep thing. I mean, I got that, no problem. No one has ever been hurt by anything that I've done. No one has been negatively impacted by anything that I've done. No one has, God forbid, kill a police officer. Some of the things that I've trained you on is to counter police officers and military personnel. So I'm very, happy that no one has went down that route. But I say, as long as no negative, nobody died or cut or stabbed or shot or anything like that.
Yeah. But what if somebody does? Just because it hasn't happened, it doesn't mean that it won't.
If I find out who that person is,
Mhm.
I will personally say you're wrong. I never put that in your head to do anything like that, and I don't want to have anything to do with you. I will deal with that person on my own.
Yeah, you must respect that.
They are good people.
But I think you must respect that you operating under the social media landscape, that those possibilities exist, and possibilities
Yeah,
to
they
be
always will.
understood.
That is why we chose to keep the EDA-ECK in the capacity that we keep it. Not training everybody on it, because that is a very dangerous.
As a matter of principle,
especially for assault, it is very dangerous system, very robust, very high level of violence. Hold on a second, let me put my thing in.
Yeah.
As far as training people, it's very tough, so I will not do that.
Yeah, content and curriculum aside, I do believe that people who operate in the social space, they have that imperative, they have that obligation to limit what they show in the public forum. So as a matter of principle, I respect that, you'll be keeping this curriculum under wraps and not necessarily, sharing it, broadcasting it. Man, I saw a video that let's talk about this other video that you did on how to deal with traffic stops if you're a concealed carry. That is a big one. So
it is a big one.
To condense, you advocate taking your firearm before you make the stop, clearing it, placing it on your dashboard.
Yeah, because I've personally done it. That's why I can say it works, because I've personally done it. I don't never talk about nothing or do anything that I ain't done. I used to get stopped all the time, because I used to have an Impala. Police can't see my thing. You know what I mean? I used to get stopped all the time, and I see the lights way before we get to the side of the road, and I just take my gun out, put the magazine on the seat, lock the action back, set it up there, put my hands on the 10 and the 2, and keep my mouth shut until the police start talking. It's a very simple thing to do. Your job to shut up, let them do their job, and then you go home. They even give me my gun back. They never took in my gun.
Hey, what are the laws? What are the laws surrounding that? I know you should let the officer know that that you have a firearm on you. Are you by law? Do they have the right to remove that firearm from you?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. If the officer deem that you are a threat or a danger to society, to the officer himself, even to yourself, they have the right to remove that firearm, and I support they should.
But under the context of a traffic stop, how does a police officer make that determination? I don't know. I don't know the rules at all.
Looking for drugs, narcotics,
right?
Illegal felonious activity. That's what we're looking for. Is this what it is? Yeah.
So you are for forfeiting your legal firearm to the police officer. You're for preempting that process.
Yes. My thing is, stopping things before they start. You see what I'm saying? If you're having an issue at a regular stop, you're a grown man. Not you, but people that are having these habitual problems of every time they get stopped, there's a shootout or they going to jail. You're a grown man. You shouldn't be having these problems. You see what I'm saying? So when the police pull you over, do what you gotta do. Stay abreast upon the law. If you feel, and this is another advice, I was getting ready to put it in the video, I want to get to you now. If you feel nervous getting stopped by the police, feel free to call the police on the police. Okay? It doesn't hurt. Hey, a quick 911 call before he actually before you stop your vehicle. 911, what's the emergency? Hey, listen, I'm getting stopped in a high crime, high narcotics area. I don't feel safe. Can you get another officer out here, preferably a supervisor? They will send one out there. Why? Because I've done it. It keeps that officer on his feet, on his toes. It keeps everybody in line. It keeps the onlookers from doing stupid things. It keeps you straight, so everybody's accounted for.
What's going on with that in general? I mean, why, despite apparently doing all the right things,
people are not always doing all the right things. They're not.
Yeah.
Everybody, and I'm not saying that there's no bad shootings, because there are some bad police shootings, like that officer shot that guy in the back in South Carolina, and had it not been for someone with a camera to see that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's bad. All right. But you know, a lot of these cases coming from Chicago, where I know for a fact folks a lot of times don't give a damn about the police. They will shoot that man. I've seen police officers get followed to their house and get their head blown off at their front porch. I've seen it. I come from a place where the violence is real.
What's the name? What is your relationship with police officers in your community now?
I'm fine. I don't have any problems. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, I know my role, I know my place. And my job is with police, you know, build a good rapport, good relationship with them. They ask you to do something, just do it. It ain't gonna kill you. It ain't killed me yet. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak for the next man, but it ain't killed me yet.
What can you do better as an instructor and as an educator?
Develop. Well, let me see. When I review myself, I would say find more like-minded people, such as myself. People who are willing to stand on their own 2 feet to say, this is what I believe in, and this is what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's legal, and you know, folks ain't getting hurt or nothing like that. You see what I'm saying? But if you are a man of principle or a woman of principle, vote for you. If you're not, if you're weak, you know, a bunch of haters call your phone and send you a bunch of threatening emails, and you cower because you want to get $1, VODA ain't for you. Maybe the NRA is for you. I mean, that's what they do anyway. You know what I'm saying? But hey, everybody got to eat.
Who is the perfect student? Describe the perfect student for VODA. Because if it's not for everybody, who is it for?
No, it's not. For me, I think it's perfect. But for me, it would be one, no matter what their skill level is, to say, hey, let me pick your brain. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? How does this work? This is what I've been doing. How does it compare? Where does it contrast? How can it be added? How can it be subtracted? What can you give me to put in my toolbox that I may not use today, but I may use it in 20 years? That is like to come to the door.
If you seek to teach those who are like-minded, how do you intend to be put across somebody who challenges you?
I don't mind being, see, it's a difference between being challenged and then being disrespected.
Okay.
Challenged, because it forces me, if someone challenged me, let's say on topic A, and I'm not well versed in topic A, that means that for myself, that's a cue to go say, I need to go revisit topic A so I can become proficient. Right?
Okay.
That's cool. If the person is a nasty person and they say, well, you ain't shit, motherfucker, because you don't know topic A, I don't want to be around that person, because that person only sees the world through a specific kind of lens, and that lens is hate. And I don't want that in my life.
Hate aside, and I feel like you're a guy who strives to seek scientific responses, scientific ideas. So in the scientific community, a big part of research in the scientific community is peer review. And so
yes,
to what degree do you take the criticisms from your peers, your other educators, other
I do.
instructors? Okay.
I actually do.
Tell
I
me
know
about
exactly
that.
where you are. Like this one guy cut a video, right? It was a bad video off the start because he was already locked into a judgment. He says, "Is VODA retarded?" My friend sent to me, and he said, "Can you believe this motherfucker?" I said, "How can he say some of the thing?" And I say,
Look, man.
and then I say, "Well, maybe he may have a valid reason."
So you
right?
gave him
So
a
I
shot
watched the
anyway.
video.
Oh God.
Yeah, you're damn right I did. And what happened was I watched this video a couple of times regarding the EDA ECK. And he's real fucked up. They do it all fucked up. There's no fluidity in the motions. The guy damn near get lockjaw with a damn gun. So I wrote an article on him. If you go to VODALogic.com, VODA logic.com, you ain't even got to scroll down too far. You'll probably see the guy in the first 4 sections, right? And I was like, listen, boss, this is the principle. So I don't mind people picking it apart and criticizing and do a peer review. But if you're going to not discriminate, but you're going to do a review or you're going to do a comparison, do it the exact same way. Criticizing instructor 0 on something, what he done, and then say he's wrong. That's our bullshit. That's wrong.
I think those guys, I mean, they should be ignored to begin with. They're not out to learn anything. They're not out to have an actual conversation. And I think if you answer in kind, you put yourself in the same position. You put yourself in a position to be ignored, to be pushed aside, and perhaps to be antagonized even further. Look,
I didn't be nasty with a message. I didn't do that.
Yeah,
I was very respectful. I didn't disrespect the person, but I say, if you're gonna do it, blah 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 blah. This is the premise behind what I'm doing. Then you can say something.
Right. Next question, related to this. What have you changed your mind about? Like, what did you used to teach in the past that you thought was correct then, but now you teach something else because you learned something new? So I'm talking about your evolution as an educator, as an instructor here.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm tracking you correctly. Can you repeat that question one more time for me, please?
Absolutely. What have you changed your mind about? So what did you used to teach in the past that you thought was correct in the past, but now you teach something else because you learned or you evolved or the nature of conflict has changed?
As far as that's concerned, I can't say that there's too much anything that I haven't taught that was necessarily wrong or anything like that, that I would change, to be honest with you, because way before I was teaching or helping people, I would watch what other people were doing. I would used to be just like the instructors out there today, a lot of them, simply regurgitating what someone has said and following the NRA's. You get a training guide and everything as an NRA instructor when I was one, and I would do exactly what the NRA said, word for word, letter by letter, and so I don't have that issue of say, oh, well, I should have did this better. I did exactly what the standard was.
Right. So nothing specific. Nothing specific. Nothing. I mean, I'm not talking about you regurgitating others, even your own concepts. Where did you have any of your concepts, your principles, your philosophies, your techniques, your teachings? Have any of them changed over the course of time because of the evolving nature of who you are, of the the landscape of conflict? And if not, that's as legit as any answer can be. I'm just kind of asking how you've evolved.
I would say that VODA has evolved in the sense that it has become global. I'm being able to, like, no matter how horrible the spelling may be, you see what I'm saying? Like, I never was in a spelling bee, so it's not going to be like, yeah,
You know what I mean? But it allows me to at least get my thought out there and put some breadcrumbs out there where people can say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what he's thinking, yada, yada, yada.
I recently did an interview series with a whole bunch of trusted instructors in the United States. And one of the common themes there was part-time instructor, full-time student, meaning
Yes.
you're continually learning.
All day.
Now, again, little hardball here. When was the last time you took a course from anybody else that we might know about that would...
I don't say that I took in the course by no one you know about, but I would definitely say I've taken courses from people who are, how you say...
Which is important, right? It's important to learn from a wide variety of experiences, and like Bruce Lee said, to accept what is useful and to shed what is useless. So do you take classes still? Are you still evolving in that way?
I haven't seen a class that I needed to take in quite some time, but I tell you who classes that I would love to take. I would love to take Robski's class.
Robski?
If Instructor Zero had a class, I would take that class. If Elijah Shaw of Icon had a class going on that I can get into with my crazy schedule, I would do that particular class. There are a host of great instructors out there that, you know, that have an insight that I may not, well, more than likely I'm not going to have because of the nature of the work that they do. You see what I'm saying? And I'm open to that. But like I say, what I'm not open to is the same old. All the NRA say you got to do it like this. All the Cooper's color codes is like this. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. What I'm looking for is someone who is going to push me as an educator, as an instructor, to the next level where I need to be, especially when it comes to my own shooting platforms and different things like that. So that's who I'm looking for.
That's fair. That's fair. I also think it's unfair for you to make a determination on a course that you've not taken and to make a determination that they can't teach you anything you don't already know. Don't you think?
I mean, what is the NRA instructor going to teach me? I don't know.
I'm not talking just specifically about NRA instructors, but I've been in classes. I've been in fundamental level 1 basic courses where there are some hard dudes in there, you know, SWAT operators, military, security professionals with years and years of experience, and they're able to extract something from a fundamental level class. And I think I would encourage you to go that path. Perhaps because you don't know what you don't know, and nobody knows what they don't know. Right?
This is true.
So
this is absolutely true.
So I would encourage you, and I think it would be good for your own personal development, even if for no other purpose, is to shut down that commentary. You know, consider, if you will, taking a course from, you know, like a Daniel Shaw, a Steve Fisher.
You know, people are gonna say what they're gonna see.
It's not about the people though. It's about you. It's about your evolution as an instructor, as a human being. Because I think right now you're very dismissive of what's out there without actually having tried it. And I think I just lost him. Where'd he go? I'm all alone. Okay, well, unless he joins us shortly, I don't even know how long this has been going on for. So guys, thank you very much. Again, I don't know anything. What I do know from this situation is that the back and forth banter that I've been going like this, like a ping pong match, has been very, very emotional. It's been very aggressive. It's been rude. And what I wanted to provide for VODA more than anything else is an opportunity to have... Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
I was just talking about how the whole purpose of this is to give you a forum to speak, you know, without emotion and shedding the aggressiveness and the rudeness that has run rampant in conversations relating to you. What do you want people to know about you that they're not getting?
I'm actually pretty fun, to be honest with you. I found the sessions
If you talk to my brother, who is the president of Urban Sharpshooters, he will definitely tell you my sessions run like no other. They're very interpersonal. They're very customizable sessions based on critical thinking. Like, yeah, I go out there, I run the PowerPoint slides, and I talk to you about it and do the nomenclature and the 20-question test for the state of North Carolina and the 50-question test for the NRA. No problem. But when we start talking about the extraction and the drawing of someone on a live subject, you know, using a real firearm minus the ammunition, I'm asking you certain questions like, why did you do that like that? You've been shooting for 10 years. Why would you draw like that? What makes you do that? I'm not saying you're right or you're wrong, but I want to know your thought process, because I'm learning from the client. They're learning from me, but I'm learning from them too. You know, so the sessions are built on that insight and the knowledge transfer between two parties. You see what I'm saying?
I do. And let me bring it back to my previous point. Having a class that is fun, that's educational, that's informative, that is customized to your needs, that is based on like the Socratic method of question and asking and exchanges between student and instructor. All those things are great, and if you do those things, wonderful. But if you don't take classes from other people, you can't make a determination that those things don't actually already exist. And
no, I didn't say I created it. No, I didn't say that I created it. No. That's
no. I know, but you missed my point. You're saying that these things are important and that they don't exist elsewhere. I think you need to actually determine that for a fact, because I think you might be surprised if you take classes again. And I'm sure, you know, perhaps after this interview, you know, there will be instructors out there who may welcome an in-person exchange with you. People that I can certainly recommend to you, where you don't have to feel like this guy's after me or this guy's this and that.
I know.
For the spirit of
when I with them.
Right, as you know, in the spirit of unity and community and evolution, man, you need to jump right back into this thing that I think you've built a wall around. I think you need to take some classes again. I think you need to see how things have changed, perhaps. It's a little bit worrisome to me when you don't have a specific example of something that you taught in the past that you thought was correct, that you no longer teach. Because on the surface level, that tells me that you've not been privy to the vast wealth of knowledge that's constantly evolving out there. I may be wrong, but principally.
No, I'm not saying that you're wrong. No, that's making that judgment, and I'll make no judgment like that. But what I am saying is, I've seen enough. I've seen enough to say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do my thing. And to this day, I'm not saying that I'm the best or anything like that. No. What I'm saying is, to this day, I really haven't really seen anybody. Like when we stand that 3 feet and it's a live gun, I ain't really seen nobody. Nice.
But you also don't know what you don't know. Well, you give me that much.
This is also true. This is also true. You don't know what you don't know. And that is very much true. And there's always something better than, it's always someone better than me, and there's always someone better than that next person. This is how it goes. It's life.
And you have to be accepting of that to a degree.
I am very much so. I'm 100% accepting of that. I am not the final solution, but I'm definitely an option.
You are definitely an option. I think you'll be a much better option if you explore a little bit deeper what's out there, so that you can more intelligently compare and contrast why yours is better for that person, right? Because if you don't know what you don't know, the conclusion of anything you say is going to be based upon the lack of information coming in.
The person that I did a protection detail for is affiliated with Triple Canopy. Okay. And when we sit in the office, I say, boss, you know, which school do you think I should go to? Because he would ask me, he was like, you know, it's part of the package deal.
You know, you go to a school, we'll pick up 50%, you pay the other 50%, whatever the case may be. And I was gonna say, listen, I want to go to CRI out there in, you know, what was it, Nevada or something like that. You know, I know those guys, you know, they're real hardcore guys. Those guys are training out there. I want to go out there. He said, that's cool. But I want you to take a look around. And I did look around. I said, I'll tell you what, we're right here in North Carolina. What about a place like, let's say, Academy or something like that? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Ex-Blackwater, you know. And this is what he said. He says, when it comes to shooting for what I do, we're not talking long-range game. We're not talking that, because that's not my thing. I don't do it. I mean, I can do the 300-meter shot, no problem in the fucking military. But we're talking, he said, I don't need to go there. This is what's coming out of his mouth. This ain't me. See, you don't need to go there because you're going to outshoot him. That's not the problem. You need to go somewhere that is very limited in scope, that is able to be customized to what you are, what it is you do. And most schools don't have that. That's coming out of his mouth, not mine. And I tell you no lie, I put it on my mother's grave. Kill her again for a second time if I'm lying.
I mean, for what that's worth. I don't know the guy. I don't know. I'm sure you're telling
You
the
do know
truth.
he's on TV.
But
he's on TV. This is
but even then, you shouldn't really rely on that guy's word. It doesn't matter if he's Super G.I. Joe. You need to do this for yourself. And I think you know that, man. And I think what I gathered from this conversation is that, you know, I think you were vilified a little bit, rightfully or wrongfully. That's up for interpretation. This is a community that is very self-aware, and it's very self-regulatory because of the nature of what we're talking about. We're talking about people's lives, right? We're talking about something that is under attack. You know?
No, I don't think so. No. The chance of you pulling out a fire I'm having to use is probably less than 1%. What we are dealing with here is people's egos. That's what we're dealing with.
Yours included, my friend. You know you got an ego. Come on, man.
No.
Hey, listen, it's.
I don't think I'm better than anybody. And I don't think I can't learn from anybody. I never look at an instructor and say that instructor isn't no good. I never look at them and say that. I never look down on people.
I mean, I think our prior discussion just moments ago, it doesn't have, look, you don't have an ego, really?
No, when it comes to this.
You're alpha male in this industry. Everybody's got an ego to some degree. And I understand that we got to protect
And the reason why not is because I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you and everybody else. I can die just like anybody else, and I'm going to be buried one day, whether I like it or not, just like anybody else. My only problem, my only issue is people who spread hatred, bigotry, and disrespect. That is my 3 biggest things.
Hey, when it comes to those 3 things, I'm 100% on your side. There's no room for that. But you also have to take it upon yourself as an educator to rise above that and not create an even deeper division. You should be promoting unity. And I think a good step towards that might be to be demonstrative, that you don't have an ego and that you don't know everything. And to be demonstrative means to be demonstrative.
Because I'm thinking in my mind, like, I shouldn't have to say that. I mean, this is not with you. You know, you're a smart guy. But in general, like, I shouldn't have to say that. Like, I shouldn't have to say that the gun doesn't have any ammunition. I shouldn't have to say that. I shouldn't have to. They said, you know, fish get in the bowl. They don't talk about fucking water. You know,
yeah, I think so. But I mean, back to community and back to our responsibility as content creators. We have a responsibility, man. I mean, I don't show any team.
Now, if you say content creator, that's different. That's different. And I'll agree with you on that. If you're going to create content, then there should be some kind of, you know, that's cool.
Yeah, because it's not like you're teaching behind closed doors all the time. And it's quite possible, VODA, that somebody who's just new to this watches your video. And if you don't make an effort into even to explain in the commentary that, hey, this is what we did. We don't recommend that you do this because you don't know who you're teaching. You don't know who's watching your video. We can agree to that, yeah?
I can agree to that. I can
Okay.
read it out. You know, like, 'cause I always leave a little bit of common sense for the people. Like, hey, listen, boss, you're a grown man, boss. You know, I shouldn't have to tell you not to. Damn it, I shouldn't have to tell you that. You know what I'm saying?
You have too much faith in humanity, my friend. You know what I mean? You have a little too much.
Man. I don't know.
Maybe you do, but hey, listen. Let's end off in a good note, man. Can I get you to agree with me on a couple of things? One, that we will start moving towards unity over division. Not to say that you can't make people, members of your community feel more welcome, but let's move towards unity rather than division. We can agree?
I can agree with that.
We can agree that as content creators in the social space, that we have to have some consideration for the variety of people watching this. And that might mean considering these things once in a while. Can you agree to that?
They're featured in the videos every once in a while. They're featured in the pictures every once in a while already.
Okay. And will you, like, if I can personally arrange it in a safe, welcoming environment, if I can arrange it, or if you want to take that step yourself, to take classes from an instructor who is reputable, credible, and established, just to see, again, because things evolve.
Okay, well, who do you have in mind?
To discover. There's a ton of instructors. I'm not speaking on their behalf.
I tell you what, let's do this. This is so cool. Since people always say VODA no good, I open the floor to anybody in North Carolina or the country or the United States to train.
With you?
That's right. I will train under them. How about that?
Okay. Let's up the ante. Let's make it sincere, authentic, and real. Let me film it. Let me film the moments. Let me film, right?
Yes.
And we will do this. We will do this. We will do this without ego, with an open heart and an open mind.
Yes.
Understanding that you could be right and you could be wrong also.
And I want to be wrong.
Okay. Well, that's kind of my purpose in doing this, man. Guys who are watching this, there are a few things that VODA said that fall in line with your principles and your goals. And whether or not you agree with these tactics, that's fine. Whether, if you think they're dangerous, let's address those. Let's address those in a real way. Not that, fuck this guy kind of way. Let's have a conversation about it. Because if you're going to make a promise to us and all these viewers that you're going to keep a legitimate, sincere, open mind to what's out there, and provided it can be arranged, you will do it. It'll only make you a better person and a better instructor.
Yes, it will. I will do it. I promise. I give you my word.
And if you're wrong, you will admit you're wrong and not take us on. Okay. Nope. Perfect.
If I'm wrong, because I'm telling you, my techniques are no different than yours.
I don't have any.
It's the same. Well, you know what I'm saying. The standard draw, the standard press, everything is standard. I don't create anything new except for EDCK. That's different. But it's the same thing. It's all about how I deliver it to my clients. I'm telling you, it's the same thing. And if you get a chance, who you need to talk to, I ain't gonna tell you who you need to talk to. James McCoy, president of Urban Sharpshooters. Get in touch with that guy. That's like a brother to me. I'm telling you, he is a historian. He knows way more than I do. He knows more than I would ever know.
All right, I'll give that guy another shot, but I'm more concerned about you, man. And if you can, look, you have an opportunity to set an example here.
Let's do it.
You really have an opportunity to set an example that you are who you say you are, that you are fluid and you're explorative, but at the same time, you're open-minded to the fact that you can be wrong, right?
To be wrong, I want to be wrong.
Then let's have a virtual handshake on that, my friend. Listen. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Yeah, and so for the guys, let's keep the commentary respectful, on point. We've talked a lot, and man, I really appreciate your time here. Any parting words for the people who might be listening in here?
I know you edit things, but please do not edit this out, because it's only giving respect to those people that deserve that respect. I want to give a big shout out to Sharika G of She's Strength, Humility, and Excellence. She empowers women through her brand. I want to say thank you to her. Love you very much. I want to give a good shout out to President of the Urban Sharpshooters, James McCoy. That's my brother, Chester 26. I want to give good shout out to Instructor Zero, yourself. You do excellent filmography work. Callie Page and all of these people that have been around me, every single last VODA client in the world that I've ever touched, had a contact with. I want to give a special shout out to the police department of Fayetteville State University as well. That's where I went to school, college, all of my people in Chicago. And like I said, I still from the street or whatever too. Good shout out to Larry Hoover, all those people from Chicago. Hey, I love you guys very much, and let's do the right thing, like you say.
I'm all for it. Let's do the right thing. Let's have a civilized conversation. Let's put the cards out on the table. I'm not one to talk about techniques and tactics and laws necessarily. I'm going to put you in front of somebody who can challenge your ideas, and perhaps you can challenge them too, for the benefit of authenticity and keeping an open mind, and of being civilized, and of community and of unity for the betterment of everybody. Because you, my friend, you're an educator, you're an instructor, you have the power to influence people, and so you owe it to them to make sure that you're equipped with the best knowledge that you possibly can. True?
This is true. Yes, yes.
All right, my man. Thank you for your time, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Leave your comments below. We'll see you next time. Take care, man.
Bye. You too, Sal.